Yeah. It's the Bitter Realtor Podcast. We're talking about all things Los Angeles real estate. If it's got four walls and a roof, we're talking about it bitterly. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Rockenstein, your host, and back from his Eat, Pray, Love trip, everybody, Scott Goldman.
Hello, bitter folk.
Oh, man. What an exciting What about that Eat, Pray, Love trip?
You're right. Turned into more of a popsicle sort of fiesta, but that's okay.
What an exciting episode that we're doing today, right, Scott?
Indeed, sir.
Indeed, sir. So relevant to the times. Our topic for today, artificial intelligence in the real estate industry.
Right. We're going to talk about a lot of cool tools that are coming out. What for you, Joe, if you had an AI assistant that would do anything you wanted, what would that look like?
Oh, I don't think that'd be appropriate for this episode.
Well, that's...
So, but I would say for real estate, I mean... I would have to say, systems in place and automating those systems for me.
Right.
So, I mean, anything from, creating comps, putting things into my CRM,
So all that stuff is mundane for you.
Completely, because I can get so lost and wrapped up in all that stuff,
right,
that I'll just spend 4 hours doing it, and I'll be like, well, what the hell happened?
Well, I think some things that you and I have talked about for AI purpose,
okay,
is those things that absorb essentially a shit ton of our time. So one of those problems that we have is, all of those forms that we have to stay on top of,
right?
Which with these settlements keep changing. Right.
So the CAR forms that Scott's talking about, which constantly keep getting updated by the attorneys and all that good stuff.
Right. So every 3-4 weeks, we're pulled into meetings and we have to re-up and negotiate and understand what the forms are. We have to stay duly informed about the forms, which is, I think, a drag.
Right.
So if I had an AI assistant, the one thing I would want them to do would be to be able to handle all my form preparation.
That would be amazing, because that is such a time killer.
Right, and it should all be voice activated, which we'll get into in a second.
Awesome.
Yeah. My other piece, I think, as you and I have talked about, is the social media thing that we all are on constant. We have to constantly doing social media.
Well, because
what we're doing now.
Right, but first and foremost, because social media in itself is a full-time job.
Correct.
You can't deny that, but doing social media, filming, editing, writing the captions, posting, right, boosting it, trying to get it out there, all that stuff, it takes a long time.
It's never ending, it seems. So you go out with buyers and you're taking selfies. What I would like to see is that you don't have to then organize the selfies and publish them to all the social media.
Right.
You have what I would call an aggregator that does that for you. That'd be the second thing of the assistant that I would want it.
And there are some tools that are out there already that do these sorts of things.
There are.
But I would say that kind of repurpose.io is something that can distribute your videos and stuff across all platforms and things like that.
That's right.
But I think what you're talking about and where things are going towards is something that's just going to simplify and streamline the entire process.
That's what I think is the best way to think about it, because in terms of where we're going and where things are happening. Sorry, we disappeared for a second. My cut didn't work right. That's live. We're live. I think the way that things are going, it's going to be a fine line between what is artificially intelligently assistingly, and where we have to curate. So if you could spend all of your time just working with buyers and sellers, you, Joey, to sell a house like this.
Which when it comes down to it, that's what we should be doing, right, in general. We got to be talking to people.
But we've been inundated with so many other things that are essentially there to differentiate us from other real estate agents. It almost becomes impossible unless you have the volume to hire an assistant who all that assistant does is form creation,
right,
or social media publishing, or what I like to call the avatar or engagement. So we'll talk about more like of that.
Right, but that's exactly it though. Like we're trying to find a way to get us back in front of our clients and away from being behind the desk, I guess.
Let's just call it the mundane tasks, right? Because you're really good at working with people. You're really good at getting the listings and working with buyers. You have a good success rate. Imagine if you could spend every one of your real estate minutes doing just that.
I mean, that'd be amazing. And I feel like I don't spend enough time working with people. I feel like I'm too inundated with all the social media stuff and like trying to shoot videos and trying to be like outside of the box and trying to prospect and do all that stuff. But it really is just like overwhelming.
Well, I don't think you're alone. I don't think you're alone. So
it's kind of like we're moving towards like the Terminator with Skynet.
We are, except we hope that in the real estate world, we don't have to worry about a big exoskeleton shoving its way through the policeman's door and saying, I'm going to get out of you.
Well, with some of the deals that I've been on lately, I kind of wish that would happen.
Oh, you like to have your own T-1000 with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is one of the threats, when we're thinking about it. So in terms of, like here, if I do this here, I should be able to make a smooth transition. One moment, please. Okay, we're going to make a smooth transition as best we can. We got away again. I don't think it's bad. Okay, so
what makes it even smoother is that you talk through it.
Well, people will notice it so much. So, in terms of like this kind of stuff where we're talking about, I call this one IO, but this is the autonomous assistant. You got to have a mission, and you got to empower the real estate professionals with an efficient and sustainable AI assistant. It's mostly these repetitive tasks that are sucking our time away.
Completely.
Okay? So, obviously, in a world where you have an assistant, you just want to get your time back. So, that's essentially the gist of what I think an AI assistant can do for somebody. There are some case studies, if you want to scroll down here a little bit, like we think that most everybody goes right to Zillow.
Right, so let's talk about that, because wouldn't you say that Zillow has some sort of like AI that they've used for their estimate for some time?
I don't think there's any question that they're using some AI, and they have to, because they can't handle all of that data. So if you think about it, right, you go to Zillow and it's no different than a Google search. We've all been dealing with artificial intelligence through a Google search for a very long time. People don't really even get that.
Right.
What's happened now is there's this chat GPT stuff and the Groks and what have you. They'll interact, and that's different.
But hasn't those kind of like platforms simplified our business already?
One would hope, right? I mean, who knows? Who knows if it has or it hasn't? I don't know.
Well, does Bill know?
Bill doesn't know anything about AI.
Well, why don't we ask?
He calls it artificial unintelligence.
I was hoping we could ask Bill.
We could ask Bill, but I don't think that's going to get us anywhere. So, in terms of like home buyers and stuff, now let me see if the transition works, okay? Yeah, no! Oh, well, all right, I'll fix that.
It's okay.
But, you want to do transactions, right? You just want to do transactions. That's all we want to do. So let's just follow the steps. I'm a buyer. What's the first thing I do?
What you should do, you're looking at houses.
Where?
On Redfin or Zillow.
Oh, Zillow. Okay.
Yeah.
Redfin or Zillow. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what happens? I see something I like, or
you save it. You favorite it.
I favorite it. Thank you. I give a little, whatever. Thank you.
You heard it.
I heard it. Okay. Then what happens?
Then you make the mistake of calling up the agent's number that's listed on Zillow.
Is that the actual listing agent, or is it a Zillow agent?
Most of the time, it's the Zillow agent, because they bury the listing agent's info.
Way down there. Okay, so good. We understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say I'm a little more savvy, and I'm going to be a buyer who contacts the listing agent myself. So let's take Zillow out of the picture for a sec.
Got it.
I see that Joey Rockenstein is the listing agent on this lovely house that I'm going to pay cash for. I'm sorry, I'm going to pay cash
Right.
for. Or I'm going to write a check for it, right?
But we accept all forms of
Of
payment.
course you do. And then I'm going to fold my arms just like the guy who's the house.
And so I give my price.
So that's right. So I contact the listing agent. I'm a buyer.
Right.
What's the first thing you're going to ask me?
Have you been pre-approved?
That's going to be the first thing. You're not going to ask me if I have an agent?
I don't really care if you have an agent.
Ah. All right. So you haven't
a signed buyer representation agreement.
Right, but I say to you, okay, I really like this house, and I want to see this house, and then what happens between you and me?
Absolutely. Well, just to let you know, I am holding the house open this Sunday from 2 to 5.
Oh, very nice. So if I come to the house between 2 and 5, I can see the house.
Absolutely. But if that doesn't work out for you, I'd be happy to schedule a private showing for you.
Very nice. Okay. So I show up, I do the open house, I really like it, then what happens?
Then you and I need to sign a buyer representation agreement.
Ah, this is a beautiful thing. Now, it's going to take you a little bit of time to put that little agreement together between us. Right?
Correct.
Now, imagine you could pick up.
I'm also got to explain it to you.
You got to explain it to me.
Right. I'd like to make sure that everybody knows what they're signing. So first and foremost,
Please tell our audience what it is.
the buyer representation agreement is an agreement between myself, the agent, my brokerage, and said buyer, and we are agreeing to work with each other. The terms can be set, like it could be for working together for one house, or it could be working together for a 3-month period, or we're working together for a certain area of town, perhaps. And then there's also an agreed upon commission or fee that this buyer will pay me.
Let's stop right there. Let's discuss that.
Great.
Okay. So what that means is I'm on the hook now to this guy. If I want to buy this house, and he's not only
Wait, but why are you on the hook? Why isn't the seller paying?
well, it's negotiable.
Oh, okay.
But you're the listing agent, so you know what your seller is willing to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we enter into an agreement because you know your seller's only giving you 2.5%. How about we start there?
Great.
Okay, and then what do you want from me as your buyer?
You to pay me.
How much?
2.5%.
Oh!
But guess what?
What?
I'm going to ask my seller to pay that fee so you don't have to.
Because I'm willing to come in and ask. I'm going to come in at the asking
That's
price.
very generous of you.
Or maybe a little over.
Whoa.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere.
Correct.
So you're selling this house for $1 million. I'm your buyer, and I'm going to make an offer at $1 million. And I say to my now representative, hey, I know you also represent the listing agent. You represent the lister of the home. You're the listing agent.
Correct.
The seller. However, I'm now your client as well as soon as
Yes.
I'm engaged.
And the seller does have to agree to that, by the way, that I can represent the buyer.
Very important point, because maybe the seller says no. So what happens then? Seller says, no, Joey, you represent me. I don't like the idea of you doing that.
Right.
And then what happens?
I farm you out to somebody else.
So you call somebody like me, your podcast partner, to represent me.
Correct.
And then that's good.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, real estate, what a fun party. Now, the thing is,
So how does AI filter into it?
so AI, you would have gone into zip forms,
Yes.
and you would have picked up a microphone and you would have said, new transaction. I'm going to represent the buyer, something like that.
Right.
And then what appears on the screen is sort of a wizard, but you and I would think of it as the cover sheet. Because now your AI forms assistant is going to walk you through what's the name of your buyer. Do you have a second buyer?
Wow.
And one step at a time, you're going to fill in that cover sheet, and then the AI assistant is going to take care of populating all 87,422 of those forms for you.
It's amazing. So instead of having to literally type it out for the cover sheet.
I'll go a step further. One thing that is being designed now is the idea that, car forms are one thing. NAR and car, that's one thing. Those are accessible to anybody. What's really the kicker here is your brokerage My brokerage, we all have our own set of proprietary forms.
Correct.
Which is also part of the library. And if you've noticed, when you use the zip forms, you've got to go and fill those in separately.
Well, yeah, so you're talking about the disclosures that are...
Anything that belongs to, in your case, Coldwell Banker, or in my case, Equity Union, anything that's proprietary to our particular brokerage, it's very, very specific. Coldwell's particularly good at it.
Right.
Because they were way in front of it with their own forms, as I know, as we both know. And that's really important because those forms rarely get propagated on their own. So even if you have the car forms, the buyer agreement, the BRABA, the BARBAR, the BABAR, the ZABAR, the HARBAR, any reason you have all of those, that's fine, but you still got to do one for the brokerage, or there's a separate, right? Disclosures are one thing, that's a card form, but there are forms just for the brokerage, and that's where the assistant gets really helpful.
Got it.
All right, so thoughts. Let's come down here.
So one thing I really like about what you have here in the notes too is about automated valuations and pricing. So I think, especially with what you're talking about, I think it can evolve too with being able to, get on the mic or your phone or whatever and say, I need a comparative market analysis for, this area in Sherman Oaks. Please pull it up between, houses matching this criteria. And I think that is going to be a huge game changer, because pulling comps, even though I actually enjoy doing it, that's another thing that's like so tedious and time consuming. And I mean, almost, I would say speculative, because I'm not an appraiser, so I'm just going off of the data that I'm pulling up off of the MLS, and I'm trying to compare, apples to oranges, because nothing ever comps out exactly. And I would hope that artificial intelligence would be able to start filtering through all that, criteria to be able to give you more accurate comps, to be able to present like a full data analysis of what you, the buyer, is looking to buy, and can see what other houses have sold for that match that house. Because that's something that I do struggle with. Like I said, I enjoy pulling comps, but the struggle is real when you're trying to match up like for like.
It's especially when because the hood is so important. Does it have a pool? Doesn't it have a pool? How big is the lot? Sometimes you can't even get a comp.
Right.
It's the only lot in the whole neighborhood that's like 3/4 of an acre.
So then what? You're branching out a mile radius?
Then you have to go out, and then you've sort of done your buyer or your seller a slight disservice, because now you're a good couple miles out to find something similar. Great example would be like the Anastoy Estates. I know you're well familiar with.
Very desirable area.
Very desirable area, and even a teardown, unlike Genesta, is selling for $3 million. So, and the media doesn't help. The media and everything that they have to say about AI and everything. It seems like you brought up Skynet. You can either be scared of this.
That's Skynet right now.
There's Skynet calling me on my phone. I forgot to put up. You can either embrace this, because it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger's exoskeleton.
Right.
Okay? It's just not. And remember, in all the subsequent Terminator movies, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's only bad the first one.
Flip the coin.
Your clothes, I want your clothes. And all the other ones, he's like, get to the chopper. So it's. I think you have to embrace it. So getting back to just the idea of market analysis and investment and being able to work with clients, it's hugely important. You know what I think? I think we should ask Mr. Bill, don't you? Let's ask him.
Finally.
Mr. Bill.
Hey there.
Mr. Bill, what do you think?
Ooh.
Hello, Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
All right, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. So, listen, I think that anything that I can have an assistant help me with is important. And there are other services out there. There's Skyline AI, there's Reonomy, There's a number of them out there already that are doing this. I have a slide.
But Kane, all right, let's look at the flip side of this.
Yeah.
Is there any concern that with all this evolution of artificial intelligence, that sellers and buyers will use that as their leverage to saying that they don't need agents?
So,
because yes, it's going to make our job much easier, and like we said at the beginning, help us get in front of people more, which is what this business is about. It's a people business, which is what I want to do more of. But also, is that going to like deter people from wanting to get in front of me?
I don't think so, because I think it's still going to be a people business. So if we're talking in terms of like some software that's existing, right? There's this roof software. There's, oh, Joe, there's a couple. I'll move out of the way. You know, there's Zillow, there's Elise. I don't think they're ever going to replace you or me. I mean, we're dealing with, especially in our hood, multi-million-dollar transactions.
Right.
So I hardly think it's going to be an issue of that. You know, if you have software that can run from anywhere, like cloud software, and it doesn't matter if I'm on, you know, this, or if I'm on your MacBook, or if I'm on an iPad, wherever I can connect, it's a ubiquitous tool. And I think that means a lot. So, you know, unlike some other services, this particular service it looks to charge $33 a month for each little tier. I think you and I have discussed it. Like I see the system being effective with 3 tiers. I want my forms automated by an AI assistant. I want my social media and my website and my blog and everything else automated.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I want all of that done. Yeah. And I want, the thing I think is going to be the coolest, but probably the easiest, is I would love to be able to come to joeyrockenstein.com. Now, once I get there, I have to sign up, right? I give Joey my email and my phone number maybe, because I want to engage him as an agent. Fine. The next thing that happens is I hear Joey's voice. Hey, Scott, welcome to my site. What can I do for you? He's talking to me. This guy's talking to me. And now I have maybe a search field, like a Google field, or I have a little microphone that I can click on, and I can say, hey, Joey, it's Scott. I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in Encino, and my budget's $2 million. And because Joey's avatar is super smart, comes back and says, well, Scott, that's great. Is there a preference on square footage? Help me narrow your search down. Do you want a pool? Do you care? Well, the schools. So the more information you can give me right now, the better I can do.
Right.
And I go, oh, that's a good point. You know, I want my kids to go to Lanai School District or whatever, and I want a pool and a pickleball court. And if they don't have a pickleball court, a tennis court that I can convert into 2. Okay. Then Joey's avatar, which on the backside has connection to all of that MLS and Realtor.com stuff, comes back and says, you know, Scott, I found you 5 beautiful homes. Check your email. I just sent them to you.
Amazing.
Totally amazing. I'll do one better. If you really engage me for a long time, like I might say, hey, Joey, is there a good barbecue around there? And you could say, well, you know, Scott, I'm really here for more of the real estate needs, but in Encino, here's 3 barbecues I found for you. Right? Because it's all AI. It's just an interactive piece that I've gone and I've recorded Joey's voice for 15 or 20 minutes. The AI modeled his entire voice and became more capable as time went on. So
it's also what I see this doing too is that it's going to ping me. Obviously, I'm going to see what was talked about, and then I'll get back to them with almost like a recap of what we spoke about, and then I could come to them with, oh, by the way, the barbecue place. You know, and that's
going to do you one better.
Oh, no.
By the way, the barbecue place for sure.
Right.
But the coolest thing is that you could probably engage me on a whole bunch of different levels, right? Because what I think is the coolest part of this that I'm thinking about is once we've had a conversation for a few minutes, you're now pinged on your phone Scott's been talking to your avatar for 5 minutes now, and now it alerts you to call me directly.
Awesome.
Or whatever metric you decided should be set at. You were looking at your clock there, so we getting down to the nitty gritty?
We are, but I just really like that because it's essentially breaking the ice and that way it's almost like when I call you, it's almost like we've been talking before. Essentially we have, but I can come back with, the conversation that we've already spoken about, and it's kind of like more of a warm intro.
Agreed.
Instead of just like, hi, how's it going? And then I come at you with all these questions, which is fine, but still, like, I feel like it's a little bit more organic this way too.
I also think that one thing we haven't really touched upon is how AI can help with lead generation.
Oh, God, please.
So obviously that's a really good way to engage potential buyers and sellers, is to have a collection page on your actual website. The best thing about AI that I just want to say is it learns. So all you would have to do, or any of us, is curate it a little bit. Like an example, you're out with your phone, you're taking selfies, me and you are out shopping for houses we're buying, and you take, hey, Scott, take it in this front of this house, and then this house, and you got 12, excuse me, I'm gonna cuss, fucking ass pictures.
Nice. Yeah.
2 or 3 pictures was for kids.
You checked the
wrong box. So imagine that the AI assistant living on your phone is now going through all the pictures. Because it's checked with you a couple of times, it understands what you want to select, it understands how you're going to edit them, and then it pushes them all out to the Facebook and the Twitter, and you're on Stitch because you're a gamer, or Twitch or whatever,
right?
And Instagram and all the others,
right?
It's really slick. Anyways,
let me say this before we wrap it up, because
you're in no hurry, by the way. I gotta go find an image.
You did mention, about this is like maybe scary or overwhelming to think about, especially for agents.
Right.
But I think it's so important to embrace this because it's not going anywhere, for one. And two, like I myself am embracing AI because I missed the boat with social media. I remember when my website guy told me about Twitter when Twitter first came out, and I'm like, that sounds fucking like a horrible idea. What a waste of time.
Yeah.
And now look where we're at with social media. And I could have gotten on board with it so long ago. And, I'm of age where I was, coming up when social media was evolving, and I should have been so much better at that. Anyways, long story short, AI is here. I think if you use it and embrace it, it can make your business so much better. And for people who are looking to buy and sell real estate, it can assist them as well. Because we said, like, is this going to hurt agents? I mean, there are already buyers and sellers who say, fuck agents, I don't want to use them anyways. Great. So let them use the AI and let them buy and sell on their own. But I think agents who embrace this are really going to have some substantial success at their business. And with everything that you just talked about.
One would hope.
Yeah.
Because it's just a way to claim back all of your time.
Which is the biggest, the most valuable commodity that we have.
It's the only one.
Right.
That Bill would tell you. Bill would say,
cool the brakes.
Yeah.
Cool the brakes.
Pump the brakes, cool the jets. We'd like to move over this way. Hold on, I gotta get right here. All right, hold on. We gotta fix this logo. Hold on, okay. All right, there you go.
All right, I love an off-centered logo.
Sorry, we'll have to fix a couple things. Sorry, we're live. Okay.
Let's wrap this up.
Wrap it up. Do your thing.
If you have any questions about what Scott and I talked about artificial intelligence in the real estate industry, drop them in the comments below. We will put our contact information in there as well.
You can find us on Instagram, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on YouTube.
Wherever you stream podcasts, we are there, and you will find us. Guys, this has been an absolute pleasure doing this live episode with Scott Goldman. I'm Joey Rockenstein. This is the Bitter Realtor Podcast. Why am I bitter? Because I'm a realtor.